Hey everybody, it's Ed. I want to thank you for clicking in and watching this, and just want to say that it was 6 years ago on this date that I am posting this video, January 22nd, 2016, when I posted my very first video on YouTube where I did a showing and a review, my review of this FTD album, Standing Room Only. And since then, I have been making videos pretty much on and off throughout the past 6 years, and have been able to been posting a little bit more consistently recently. And you know, and I appreciate everybody who watches and who comments and all the correspondence and meeting new people, and it's a lot of fun. So that's why I do this. But I realize now over 6 years that I never did a proper introduction video. So I'm going to try and hopefully do that now, finally, after 6 years. So the purpose of this channel, of course, is that when I started doing YouTube, and specifically focusing on Elvis, at that time I didn't really feel or see all that much out there in the vinyl community regarding Elvis. There were some channels, but you know, around the same time that I started, but nothing that I can really, you know, remember. And the way I started my channel was, I happened to be in Florida. I was on vacation with my family, and I was on my phone, because I'm an early riser. So what happens is I'm up at 4 or 5 in the morning, and the family gets up, you know, a few hours after that. So I'm up, I get coffee, I go sit in the outside deck or whatever, and just look at my phone and go on the internet and do YouTube and all that stuff. And I was watching videos from the vinyl community, and I remember coming across some videos from Mean Mr. Mayo. And the thing that stuck out about Mean Mr. Mayo was when I saw the thumbnail, I'm like, I know this guy, because Mean Mr. Mayo happens to go to the same record store that I go to. So I'm watching his videos, and I'm enjoying them, and he's, you know, mostly focusing on Beatles at the time. There was some assorted other things as well, but a lot of Beatles. And then I remember running into him in the record store, and we never really talked before that. So you know, he was there, and I was like, hey, you know, I saw some videos from you on YouTube, didn't I? And, you know, we started talking from there. So not long after, I guess, like I said, January 22nd in 2016, I decided to give it a shot, and I did my first video. So yeah, so you know, it was pretty cool to do it, and you know, to be perfectly honest with you, I thought I'd be lucky if I got like 5 subscribers, and the fact that I'm at this time 4,500 or just over 4,500, I'm like amazed by that. And again, I appreciate all the correspondence that you guys you know, send, and the feedback. It's well appreciated, so thank you. All right, so again, now a little bit more about my history and how I became such a big Elvis fan. Well, I became a big Elvis fan, I guess, mostly because Elvis is awesome, but also my parents had a big influence on my love of Elvis, of course, because my parents were huge diehard, you know, go berserk type fans. And for those of you who do not know, this is my father, this is my mother. That is not my father, that is Elvis, that is Pat, and that is Jim. All right, now, the story here is that my parents and Pat and Jim were huge Elvis fans. And my father met Jim online when Elvis was playing Madison Square Garden. And they became friends, and my mother and, you know, the 4 of them, they were like, once they met and realized that the passion that they had, they were inseparable. So they were not happy with all the fan clubs that were out at the time, so they figured, you know what, let's give it a shot. Let's see what we can do. And they formed a fan club that was called the King's Court. Now, you should be able to see that my parents are wearing the fan club button. There's my dad again. There's my mom again. That is not my dad. That is Colonel Parker. That's Pat, and that is Jim. So that is their picture with Colonel Parker. So they started the fan club, the King's Court, and this started in early 1973. Again, now they met when they were getting tickets for Elvis in 1972. So after 1973 was when the fan club started. Now, my parents remained in the fan club up until 1975. There's a story there. I'm not going to get into it, but there was a separation, if you will, between Pat and Jim and my parents. And then, so Pat and Jim continued the fan club after 1975. The fan club did continue on, but my parents were no longer involved after 1975. Fast forward to, I can't tell you exactly what date, my parents and Pat and Jim did reconcile their differences and became friends again, which was good to know, because unfortunately Jim passed away not much longer after that. Pat, I believe, is still with us. I haven't talked to Pat in a couple of decades, I think, at this point. Unfortunately, my mom has, but she hasn't spoken to her in a while, you know, so I'm not exactly sure, but I'm hoping she's well. And yeah, so they did the fan club, and it was successful. And because of that, the fan club was the reason that my parents, you know, were able to, I guess, you know, get their way in to meet Elvis and present them with this award or plaque from the fan club. So, yeah, so my parents definitely, I mean, you can imagine that it's pretty much all I heard growing up for the most part. I shouldn't say pretty much all I heard, but played at home specifically. When I was growing up in the 70s, you know, you had your little transistor radio, listen to AM stations and that kind of stuff. But, you know, none of that stuck with me. Elvis did. Elvis definitely stuck with me. But, yeah, so I enjoy doing these videos. I enjoy sharing the stories and showing all the memorabilia that my mother and father had obtained over the years, as well as myself, you know. But a lot of the stuff that you see on the wall, all that stuff were from my parents. That's all stuff from Elvis on tour and you know, and whatnot. And of course the concert scarves all across the wall were all given to my mom by Elvis. And yeah, so. But if you look through the history of my my videos, you'll see an assortment of things. Lately, I've been doing a lot of album reviews. But if you go back in the history, usually some sealed to revealeds and showing of specific scarves and concert tickets and records, tapes, a whole bunch of things, you know. So I think there's over 300 videos at this point that you can look through. I hope you enjoy them. And I appreciate everybody who does watch. And I really don't know what else I can say, but Elvis is awesome. And I'm, you know, happy to keep his memory alive. And that's it. I don't know. I don't know what else I could say. All right, but I appreciate you all watching. Please leave a comment if you would like. And yeah, be good to yourselves. Be good to each other. Take care.